Hello everybody, this is Jennifer at Creative Art Spark. Thank you for joining me today. I have a book kit from Bythewell4God, and this is the Delivered to the Saints book kit here, and I'm going to attempt to put this together. There weren't any directions. I did some web search, and there were a couple of YouTube channels that discussed making books with Kraft Tex from Bythewell4God, but none of them went over this exact book kit. So we're going to play this by ear today and see what we come up with. We've got 3 signatures of heavy cardstock, and there's 1, 2, 3. There's 3 pages folded in half in each of those, so 6, 6, and 6. 3 times 6 is 18 pages. We've got the Kraft Tex itself, which is very pretty. It's got an old bookshop on the front, or that's what it looks like to me, and that's kind of the theme of the devotional kit that you can buy from Bythewell4God also. It's got a lot of books and library kind of atmosphere vibes to it. And then we also have, I am thinking, the inside of what is supposed to be the book, and then perhaps the covers, the inside pages. So here's what I'm thinking I'm gonna do. I'm gonna glue these pieces down, and then I'm going to I sort of think that needs to go like that. So I'm gonna glue. I'm just gonna glue. That's all I know to do. These, it looks like, might need to be inset just a smidge. So I'm gonna kind of put these in place and see what I come up with. And that looks like it's a pretty well-rounded book cover. Let me just check something here. Not quite equal, a little bit higher. That's better. Okay, that's why I wasn't coming up with the same exact distance. Okay. So here to here. And here to here. Hopefully you can see what I'm attempting to do. And I've moved it all out of place, haven't I? Here to here, here to here. And then this piece should go in the center, equidistant from both the front and back covers. And that gives you your spine area. Okay. So what I'm going to do to start with is I am going to get something heavy, if I can get it over here, to put on these 2 pieces while I glue down this piece. I guess that looks as even as I can possibly get it. I'm going to use Fabri-Tac glue. I don't know if you can see this or not. This is one of my favorite glues besides Barely Art glue. This holds really, really well. It gives you quite a bit of wiggle room to get something in place. It doesn't warp your papers. I just all around love Fabri-Tac glue. So what I'm doing, I'm going around the book board, and this is really, really thick, by the way. Really thick, good quality book board. Okay, now I'm going to lay it down, and I'm going to try to get it equidistant, top and bottom and side. And I'm going to lay it right there. And I'm gonna rub that down. Okay, now I'm going to switch sides with my weight thing, my crocodile that I'm using to hold things in place. And I'm going to take the back book board and I'm going to glue it down. And while I'm gluing this all down, I'm trying to decide how I'm going to put my signatures in there. And I think what I might do is just use elastic, and that way I can add pages if I want to. And I do think that's what I'm going to do. All right, so now I'm going to attempt to lay this one down nice and neat and get it evened up as best I can. You know, when you're crafting, it's never going to be 100% perfect, but it's the doing that is so much fun. We like making things, and as long as we're making things, we're happy. So as long as you get a usable product out of the deal, that's what we're shooting for. Okay, I'm going to pause you just a minute. I'm going to go find my elastic, and I will be right back. Okay, I went and got my elastics. Whoops, I want to turn this over real quick and give this a good burnish. It's always important to burnish your glues down. Maybe I didn't wait too late. But that makes sure and spreads that glue out. Gives it a good firm hold. So if you check your corners, see I've got good connection. Well, that one could be a little better. So we'll just come right in here like this, and we'll add some to that corner. The thing you don't want is for it to seep out like that. If it does, just take your finger and wipe it out. Get rid of it just like that. You may have a little shiny spot right there, but nobody's ever really going to notice that. Okay, now let's take our spine and let's take a look at where we're going to put that, and that looks pretty good. If I do that, and then that, and then that, that might just be what I do. Okay, I was just testing there. All right, so let's get our spine glued down. So we're going to make sure we get all the corners on this one. And we squeeze that Fabri-Tac out. We don't go quite to the edge, but almost, because we don't want it to seep out. Okay, and then we come up the middle. I always do like a zigzag section. And then I break the glue strings. And if I get my head in the way, I'm sorry. Just trying to get this positioned as evenly as I can. And that looks like it. I've got some glue seeping out there. That's all right though. Okay, let's make sure we got all the glue seepage up. There's a little bit right there. All right. So let's turn this over and give it another good burnish. Isn't that just pretty? I really like the way that looks. That's just pretty. Let's turn it around and look at it. Yeah, that's nice. That's going to be a good, solid book. Now, when I was thinking about how to make this, I had a decision to make. I could either cut the book boards down, which I really didn't want to do, because I don't have a paper trimmer strong enough to do that, so that I could fold the edge up on this. I'm not going to worry about that edge. This is how it's going to look when it sits. I'm just not going to worry about that edge. What I'm going to worry about is making sure that gets good and glued down, because we don't want that Fabri-Tex buckling. But look at that. Is that not going to look neat on your bookcase? We'll just make sure we've got a good, solid, glued piece right there. All right. Now, the next thing I've got to decide is how I want to place these. And I am thinking that these were intended as the inside pages. They're not quite to size, but they're pretty dressy, I guess you would say. And then you can put this right here if you want to. And I'm trying to decide if I really want to do that. Now, I don't think I do. I don't think I want to do that. Let me put you on pause a minute. I've got, oh no, they're right here. I've got some papers that I also ordered from Bythewell4God. This is a 6x8 vintage paper pack, and they're double-sided. Let's see what we've got in here. Ooh, they're nice and slick. Would have to trim that down, but that sure is pretty. So you got all of these. I love that. That's so pretty. I wonder how these would look as the inside. So if I did that, it would have to be trimmed down. So let's pull it down where it needs to be. It would have been nice if I'd had the forethought to measure these pages, huh? Okay. You know, I think that's what I'm going to do. And I think that I want this Kraft Tex is sturdy enough that I think I can actually leave this without putting anything here so that it folds nicely. So I'm going to go like that and like that. And we want our pages to fit in there like that. So I think that's what I'm going to do. And boy, I tell you, I wish I had a bunch more, but I mean, you can really feel this thing out when you get your elastics in there. So that's what I'm going to do. So let's measure. I had a ruler. This is 1 by, no, it's, I hate measuring, 5. There's the half. So 1/8, it's about 5 1/4. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay. Yeah, so about 5 1/4 by 5 1/4. Okay, so let's choose our pages. Now, that blue and that's just yummy, but so is that cracked part over there. And we might have enough left over. Yeah, we do. Okay, here's what we're going to do. We're going to do this page. Do I want them to be exactly the same? I don't really need them to be exactly the same. This page and this page. Okay. This one. All right. Decisions, decisions, decisions. I was going to use this as a little ribbon, but I think I'm going to, before I glue my book pages in, or my inside cover pieces, the book plate, so to speak, I'm going to see what we have here. And I might just lay that in there right like that and glue my book pieces over that. And why would I do that? So that I have a closure. So what we're going to do is measure this a half. And that's pretty close to half. Now if I could find my double-sided tape, which I looked for yesterday and could not find, I'd be all set. But since I don't have that, let's see. I have double-sided tape sheets. So I'm going to cut 1, and 2, and they're probably not even, and they're probably bigger than the ribbon, but that does not matter because the ribbon is going to be covered up. Now I'm going to cut my papers, and I want this blue to show, so I'm going to put it out here, 5 1/4. There's my 5, and I can't see for diddly squat. There's my 5 1/2. There's my 5 1/2. And there's my 5, so that would be a 5 1/4. All right. Let's cut it just a little bit longer, just to be on the safe side. Okay, there's one piece. Now let's test it. And it was a little long, just like I thought. Okay, so we'll come back and we're going to cut 5 1/4. Don't want to cut the blue. We're going to cut 5 1/4. And then we're going to cut 5 1/4. I don't want to cut the blue. Hold your breath. Ah, I did it. Okay. All right. There's that one. Now, I want this little piece, so I'm going to come here and I'm going to do 5 1/4. And I'm going to do 5 1/4. Y'all, I am holding my breath. It's nerve-wracking to me to be cutting things to size. Now, the next thing we got to do is cut down our little centerpiece. So we know it's going to have to be 5 1/4. So let's cut it to 5 1/4. We don't want to cut the part that's got the pretty blue. That's awfully pretty. Okay, here we go. 5 1/4. But now we got to see how wide it is, and it is 2 inches wide. So this book has a 2-inch spine. Okay, so we're going to put this in here, and we're going to measure 2 inches. And I sure wish I could see better. All right. My dog is laying over here looking at me like I've lost my mind. That's going to fit perfectly. Okay. So now what we want to do, before we glue our pieces together, we want to put our ribbons in so that we have a way to close our book. I'm pretty sure that's what we want to do. Yep, that's what we want to do. Okay. And I've got all these really pretty pieces that I can add to my stash that I don't really need. Everybody's got a stash of papers they can't bring themselves to get rid of. Okay. And we want to probably cut these just a little bit shy. All right, this is that tape, that double-sided sticky tape. So now here's our, yeah, that's what we want to do. Okay, we want to do it to the middle. This was, what did we say? 5 1/4, 2 1/2, 2 and, okay, that's pretty close actually. All right. So what we got to do, it takes forever to get this started. I usually have trouble getting it started. You got to get this peeled away from one side. And I'm all thumbs. All right, there we go. That's the sticky side. Okay, I'm going to bend a little bit back, and I'm going to come right here, and I'm going to put my piece down, and I'm going to pull my tape this way. All right, not quite straight, but it will do. Nobody ever said it had to be perfect. All right, let's see if I can get this one to do easier, and I bet I can't. Look at that, I did it. How about that? All right, here I'm bending it back. I'm going to come right here, and I'm going to eyeball this and get it level, and I'm going to pull this back. Okay, now then, I'm going to burnish this down. And as you'll see, it's going a little bit into that ditch, and that's okay. I don't mind that, I don't think. We can always remedy that later if we need to. Now I'm going to take this, and I'm going to pull this up, and I'm going to pull this up. I'm going to throw these pieces away. Imagine that. Wow. Cleaning my desk as I go. It's an unheard of experience. Okay, now I'm going to take my seam binding here, my ribbon, and I'm going to fold it in half, and I'm going to, well, do we know which side is the right side and which side is the wrong side? That will work. Okay, I'm going to lay it right here, and I'm going to finger press it down, and then I'm going to come right over this way, and I'm going to finger press it down. Now, we're going to hope this meets up in the middle. It's pretty close. Look at that. I have a closure. Yay! Okay, now, let's take our centerpiece here, and we're going to glue that over that, and that's going to give even more stability to our closure. And I think this time I'm going to put it on here instead of on the paper. And you can see me adding that. Sometimes it's a little hard to squeeze this out. But I'm just squeezing along, trying to get good glue coverage over this panel and over my ribbon. Okay, once again, you're probably going to see my head. I'm going to put my thumb on the bottom of that panel, and I'm going to place it down, and I'm going to see how easy that slides. All right, I've got it. Best I can tell, I've got it in place. My eyes are so blurry tonight, I can't really tell. Okay, and it's going to slide a little bit if you use Fabri-Tac. Be prepared for that. It will slide. So it's even top and bottom. There's a little bit of an overhang, but that's not going to hurt a thing. So now I'm going to hold it and I'm going to burnish it down. There is a little bit of overhang. Okay, now we're going to check this side out. And there's a little overhang here too. I think I'm going to cut some of that off. Okay, we're going to cut off from here and from here. Just a smidgelet. You know what a smidgelet is, don't you? A smidgelet, it's not big enough to be important, but it's necessary for the fit. So we're going to cut a smidgelet off of this. Okay, I hope that smidgelet wasn't too much. I guess we'll see. All right. Eileen Hull, there's the hand. I don't know if y'all follow Eileen Hull or not, but I love her. Excuse me, I love her dies. She sent me a little hand, and so I had to paint it and add a ring to it. So it has bling and the fingernails are painted. So there you go. All right, now we're going to see, and yeah, that fits much better. There's not that overhang. There's still just a smidge, just a hair. That's not going to hurt a thing. So here we go. We're going to add our glue. Squeeze, 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 squeeze. Fabri-Tac is rough on the hands because you have to squeeze so hard. But like I say, for something like this, it gives a very good hold. For cards, I love my Barely Art glue. But for this, I really like the Fabri-Tac. For a long time, I used Fabri-Tac on my cards too. But it's really good when you're building things. All right, here we go. I love that. This looks like a hill, like a mountain. I love that. Okay, I've got that good and in place. I'm going to hold it right there. Let my glue kind of seep into that paper, and you can see there's just a little bit right there. I may try later on. I'm not going to do it on camera, but I might try to trim that up just a smidgelet with my scissors. We talked about smidgelets. Okay, now you see I've got some seepage. I'm going to get rid of that. There's a little bit right there. Okay, let's try this again, as my grandmother would say. My grandmother was from California, but she ended up in Georgia in the deep south. But she had a lot of words that she pronounced the California way. She called a creek a crick, and a roof was a roof. I always remember those when I was a kid. I was fascinated with how she pronounced her words. All right, now let's get this beautiful blue piece. Let's decide how we want it to go. And I think that I want it to go like that. I love that pop of blue. I just love it. Okay, so let's get out the strong hand again and let's squeeze that glue out. And it doesn't really need to be as thick as that, but that's going to be that good coverage. One thing that you will find about Fabri-Tac is it does have an odor. It doesn't last long, but it usually always affects my allergies, and so if I start coughing, that's why. It's my glue. All right. Ooh, this is starting to come together. I'm getting excited about it. This is going to be nice. Okay. And I'm going to be able to take this with me when I take my mother to physical therapy, and I'm going to sit in the car and do my Bible journaling. How exciting is that? Now then, that's got that right there. This one's a little bit shorter. Somehow maybe it was supposed to go the other direction, but I like it like that, and that will be just fine. And again, we're not striving for perfection. That's exactly what's wrong. Let's lift that up and let's twist it around like that. And then we get the best of all the blues. Yeah, I like that. Okay. But like I said, we're not striving for perfection. If you have to be perfect, you got to realize you're never going to get anything done. We are not perfect. We are not perfect creatures by any stretch of the imagination. The only person that has ever been perfect on the face of this earth is Jesus Christ. And we can only attempt and strive to be like Jesus, but we will never be perfect. So just remember that when you're making your craft creations. Okay, now, like I told you, I'm going to try to trim that little piece off right there, but that is the outside of my book. How fast was that? Good and sturdy. Oh man, I like it. Okay, now, we need to talk about how we're going to attach these. And am I going to go in and give them each a cover? Let's look here. It's not big enough to wrap around like that, so no, I'm not going to. What I do want to do is I'm going to use my chomper thing, and I'm going to poke holes because I have elastic that I just happened to buy yesterday when I was at my favorite craft store, which is Scrappy Shack in Sawtee, Nacoochee, Georgia. And I got round elastic cord, and I'm going to fix this so it's like a traveler's notebook, so you can slide these pieces in and out. So I'm going to punch holes, and I'm going to string elastic for my traveler's notebook here. All right, so we got to figure out, let's see, where is a pencil? Do I have one right here? I don't think I do. Okay, I'm going to have to pause y'all again. I got to go hunt a pencil. I'll be right back.